Setting up new automations is easy, I guess relatively easy, but it's the optimization where you make your money. And after looking at 100 plus accounts and working with 50 plus brands to generate 34 million in email marketing revenue, we have rarely come across a brand or an account which is optimized or looked after regularly. It's mostly like one-time setup has been done 6 months ago or 1 year ago, and since then there have been very little activity on the automation. So in this video, we will be looking at how to optimize your automations, what kind of reports you need to run, what kind of sanity checks or checks you need to make, and how you look at the numbers, what kind of actionables, and how you roll them out, like either A/B testing or you go ahead and straight away make the changes. The first question before getting started is, do you even need optimization or do you need a new setup? So if a new account comes to us and says that we need to optimize our automations, and we look into it and it's like there is only 2 automations or 1 automations is live and with 1 or 2 emails, then there is no point looking at the optimization metrics and running any report or anything like that, because then the idea is to like the more easy wins will be in setting up new automations, new touch points and all those things. If your automations is generating less than 5% of total revenue, or you are not happy with the strategy or the design, then you need a new setup. But if you are happy with the design, you happy with the broad, and we have like 8-10 automations live in the account, then it makes sense to work on the optimization framework. The first step is like running the reports. So we will look at what kind of reports, then we look at the sanity checks, then we compare benchmarks like this thing, how the numbers stack up against other industry leaders, or how the numbers stack against competition, and then we look at the strategies to grow the automation. So first step is like the flow reports. The second report is flow message. So we look at the automations numbers as a overall. So there is a broad overview number which is checked on the automation level, and then we look at the numbers at the message level, because the single automation might have like 5 emails, 6 emails, and there is a huge opportunity lies over there, like in the terms of if the first email is driving the revenue or the second, on those kind of optimization. So in Klaviyo, how you run the report, flow wise report, where we create like go into custom reports and we create a last month flow report, and we look at like flow performance, we look at the email recipient, open rate, click rate, bounce and rest, everything, and then we look at the metrics, and it's mostly run on the group by last month, and on the last month basis we look at the numbers overall on the automation wise. Second is your flow message wise. So flow message wise, we look at the same metrics, but we just break it up into messaging. So like we break it up into by message, and then once we export this report, we jump into Excel. In Excel, we look at the month wise report. So this is month wise. So these are some dummy numbers from some other accounts. So these are like the automations and the monthly report, the month 1, month 2, and you can go like month on month, and we keep on creating records like this. And second is messaging, which is your single automation and the breakup. So I have taken one example, and over here there is like a key, they have these emails going out, and for individual emails what kind of messaging. Once these 2 reports are ready, then we come down to the second step, how you read any report or data. So over the years I've shown multiple data points across because in the previous organization or this organization, and it's basically you read numbers through anomalies. So you look at any anomaly exist in the data, like any fluctuations. If last month it was sending 100 emails, now it's sending only 50 emails, then there is some data fluctuation, or anything stopped working, or any number spiked, or anything like went down. So it's like numbers need to have a rhythm. Second is benchmark. Klaviyo has a very good documentation around benchmark. So you need to check the benchmark as per your industry, and once you know the benchmark, then you can look again into this like a reference and what kind of numbers where you stack up sort of. And comparative is also again the direction. So if the numbers are going up, going down, these are the 3 methods where how you read numbers, or like any report, be it health report, be it financial report. So we look at the anomalies, and we look at that all the automation in 7 days. If email is live and 0 email are sent, then there might be some integration issue, there might be like some pixel changes, some kind of redesign happening on the website. And if there is a 1 email which is sending 0 number, so that's the anomaly. If some automation is not sending, or there is one pattern where the follow-up email should be lower than the parent email, because parent email need to have higher number than the second email or the third email, because the first email goes to everyone, second email goes to someone who has not seen the first email or not converted after seeing the first email, third email will go after that. So it need to follow that descending order. So the volume should be consistent and basically look at the trend. So how the numbers are stacking up and what kind of numbers we are looking at. So we look at the sanity, then we look at the benchmark. So benchmark is basically like a open rate, and this is like overall, and these might be, it totally depends from industry to industry. So Klaviyo has this benchmark numbers, so I will just mark that link in the description. Like all automations is 50%, welcome is this much abandoned cart. So this will help us to understand with the overall automations and what kind of benchmark the industry is happening. And Klaviyo typically tend to over report these automations, so you can even if it's in ballpark, this is like a top grade. So even if it's like 40%, don't sweat too much about it, but like anything less than 40, there is an issue, because Klaviyo might be like a 20% higher, but still it needs to have a within 20% plus minus range of the number. Do you need to change the subject line? Do you need to change anything, or do you need to change the click rate and those kind of metrics? Now coming back to the optimization. So optimization, there are mostly three levers which we have: what metrics or what area impacts what, and how we influence that. So one is like optimize opens. So first is to get them open the email. So if open is less, or if you feel that open rate is less for that email, then we need to look again into the subject line. So we look at the subject line, we create a new subject line, we can launch it as a A/B test. If the click is rate, then the messaging is the issue, and there is a optimized time delay. So time delays is again, it's like what kind of emails are working and what kind of time delays you can add to those emails. So it's when we look at the optimization, like automations, so there is a lot of if you sending like cart abandonment after 2 hours versus 4 hours, like first time buyer versus repeat buyers, it can be broken up into like VIP versus non-VIP. So those kind of A/B testing can be done. How we approach this is like we look at the whole automation. So if the third email is not working, then we tend to bring it up. Like third email, we tend to bring it up. If it's like we feel that after 2 days the email is not responding, so we will either move it upfront. Typically we have seen success mostly with upfront, but in pre-purchase. But in post-purchase automations like win-back or cross-sell, it might be that you are sending the email too early and you might need to like push it back. So it might start at 5 days and you might need to push it to like after 10 days you are doing a follow-up or something like that. You can set up A/B test around that. So there is a lot of like time delay A/B test where it's more like a split. So in the like a 50% random, and then you look at like wait 2 hours, wait this thing, and then you again based on the random split you do the A/B testing. Next step is like once you have your small wins, like the subject line win is like a quick wins. Then there is a checkout or click rate related, that's a quite good, and then there is a time delays one. So time delays, once you have these wins, then there is a opportunity about like growing the automations in the terms of adding more to automations. And over there we look at we follow two methods. One is like vertically. So if fourth email of welcome flow is working, then we add fifth email. If fifth email is working, then we look at the sixth email. So it's mostly by looking at the data, you are going deep into the funnel. I would say like if 10% of total is flow revenue is coming from that last email, then it's makes sense to add another email. So supposedly if your automation is doing like 20k and last email like fourth email is generating more than 2k, then you need to add fifth email into your automation. So that's what we call is growing vertically in the automation. You keep on increasing the depth of the automation, and if you're not seeing revenue on the fourth, then the same opposite applies, that you remove the fourth email, you shrink the automation, you make it more tighter, more like you reduce the time delay. Second is like we grow horizontally. So horizontally is like adding more touch points to the automation. So we try to add more touch points to the automation where we look at the complete journey, and then we try to add more touch points. So if you have win back, then we add like a 90-day win back or 180-day win back. If you have welcome, so after welcome goes for 7 days. So we make it like after 30-day welcome or like a 60-day, or touch points can be any missing touch points also, like cart page abandonment, search abandonments. There can be additional flow for the VIP audiences. So it totally depends on the current state and where we see the revenue or the performance uplift. We have done a video on the journey and like setting up new automations, so you can check it out. And over there we will discuss everything around the setting up new automations, the framework. If you set up like 2 hours to do optimization, it will really have a long-term impact, and the performance really shines through, because there is a lot of times there might be a pixel issue. So sanity checks helps you with that. There might be very low hanging or easy win in the opens and the subject lines. So if you change those or review those, that will be really helpful. Then there is always like time delay test. I would not recommend doing more like changing the structure, but this thing, because changing the structure is very complicated and with very low volume, it's might not lead to good results. And last is like add more touch points to the email. So add more touch points, more either grow it vertically or either grow it horizontally. So I hope this was useful, and if you find value, please subscribe to my channel. And if you need help with optimization, so do reach out to or check us out at RetainUp.co, and we help brands with their whole retention marketing. So thank you for watching.